Aleister Crowley, the Great Beast. In March 1923, a London paper named him the wickedest man in the world. A self-proclaimed prophet who lived as a walking storm of scandal and of undeniable magical influence. For over a century, his name has meant the occult. His rituals, his philosophy of thelema, his books have shaped modern Western esotericism more than almost anyone. His followers and his critics see him as a great inventor, a genius who conjured whole magical systems out of thin air. That is not the whole truth. It is not even the interesting part, because the one ritual Crowley treated as the master key, the gateway to every higher form of magic, the tool for what we would now call God-tier focus, was not his at all. He found it, he adapted it, and in a stroke of genius, he lifted it out of antiquity and set it at the heart of his work. This is the trail of that stolen fire, back to its source. And at the source is one of the most potent and most misunderstood rituals in the whole Western tradition. To see why one ritual mattered so much, you have to understand the problem Crowley believed every magician faces. It was not about demons in the sky. It was about the demons and the angels inside your own head. For Crowley, the mind is a battlefield, a cacophony of voices, desires, fears, what society tells you to be, random thoughts, passing moods. He believed this internal noise is the single greatest obstacle to any real magical work. How can you impose your will on reality if you cannot control the chaos in your own consciousness? How do you hear a message from the divine when a million other voices are screaming for your attention? Modern mindfulness is wrestling with the same problem, but Crowley's answer was not quiet contemplation. It was a thunderous, authoritative act of invocation, a tool that did not just quiet the noise, it banished it and put a single, unified point of consciousness on the throne. He called that point the true will. He found the tool in a text he placed at the front of his 1904 edition of the Goetia, the medieval grimoire for summoning spirits. He called it the Preliminary Invocation. Its real name and its real history are far older and far stranger. Today, it is known as the Bornless Ritual. The Bornless Ritual is a pillar of 20th century ceremonial magic, largely because of Crowley. In his system, it became a multi-purpose powerhouse. The warm-up before any major operation, a way to purify a space, to banish, to focus the mind before a complex ceremony. But its true purpose grew into something far larger. Crowley framed it as the key to contact with your own personal genius, the higher self, what he called the holy guardian angel. Not the winged creature from Sunday school. The holy guardian angel is the essence of your divine potential, your true self, free of the illusions of the ego. To achieve what he called knowledge and conversation with it was the ultimate goal of his whole system, the final state of focus, where your will and the universe run in perfect sync. The Bornless Ritual was the rite that made the magician ready for that contact. So where did Crowley get a tool like this? If you were a magician in the 1890s, you did not write something this powerful. You found it. Quick pause. If you want the rest of this trail, subscribe. One film like this every week. Now, the source. The story does not start in Crowley's England. It starts in the sands of Egypt, in an age of astonishing fusion. Between the 2nd century BCE and the 5th century CE, Egypt was a melting pot. Ancient Egyptian religion, Greek philosophy, Jewish mysticism, and early Gnostic ideas, all blending. The magical record of that world survives. It is called the Greek magical papyri. Spells, hymns, and rituals for everything. Healing, finding treasure, exorcism, spiritual ascent. And buried in that collection, in a text known as the Stele of Jew the Hieroglyphist, is the original formula of the Bornless Ritual. You are looking at the papyrus that carries it. It first appeared in English in 1852, in a translation by a scholar named Charles Wycliffe Goodwin. It circulated among academics, and eventually it was found by the magicians of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, the secret society where Crowley received his first magical training. But here is the twist. The original was not an invocation for spiritual clarity. Its purpose was far more direct, and to the ancient mind, far more practical. It was an exorcism. The original text is a rite to drive a possessing spirit out of a person. The magician calls on a supreme, transcendent power and commands the unwanted entity to leave. And the figure being invoked is not called the Bornless One. The Greek is akephalos. It means literally the Headless One. That might refer to a god whose head was never shown. Or it might be a symbol of a formless, primordial power, a being beyond all limits. Either way, the ritual's power came from one move. The magician identifies with that supreme force, and from inside it commands lesser spirits. So how did an exorcism to the Headless One become an invocation of the Bornless One for union with your higher self? This is where the genius, or the sheer audacity of modern occultism comes in. Somewhere between Goodwin's desk and Crowley's printing press, the word changed. Nobody signed the change. The earliest dated appearance of the Bornless One in English is Crowley's own 1904 edition. And the logic of the change is plain. Headless was read not as a body, but as a metaphysics. A being without a head is a being without a beginning, without a source, uncreated, bornless. Crowley took that reading and ran with it. He saw that the structure of the ritual, assuming a divine identity in order to command the spirit world, was the perfect formula for his own goal. If the original exorcised a spirit from someone else's body, Crowley reframed it as an exorcism of the self, a rite to banish the demons of doubt, fear, and distraction from your own mind, preparing the temple of the body for the arrival of the holy guardian angel. He changed the order of the invocations. He tweaked the barbarous words of power to fit his system. He did not copy it, he remade it. And he never claimed to have invented it. In 1921, he rewrote it once more as Liber Samekh, his formal rite for reaching the angel. This is why it mattered so much to him. It was not just another banishing, it was a declaration of power. The text is not a plea, it is a command. The magician declares, "Thee I invoke, the Bornless One. I am he, the truth. I am he who hate that evil should be wrought in the world." You are not asking a higher power for help. You are identifying yourself as that higher power. You silence the inner chaos by asserting a single, unshakable point of authority inside yourself. Fake it until you make it on a cosmic scale. By performing the rite again and again, the magician trains the mind to operate from unity and power, instead of from the fractured, frightened state of the everyday ego. The famous lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram is magical housekeeping. It clears and balances a room. The Bornless Ritual is a palace coup. It dethrones the chaos and enthrones the will. It is not about cleaning the room, it is about claiming the throne. And Crowley said it at the very front of the Goetia. The placement says everything. Before you dare to summon and command the 72 spirits of the grimoire, you must first prove you can command yourself. The Bornless Ritual is that proof. You become the king of your own inner kingdom, so that you can face the forces of the outer world not as a beggar, but as a sovereign. From an ancient exorcism to a modern tool for putting a divided mind back together. That is how magic always moves. Adaptation, reinterpretation, the same old human hunger for focus in a chaotic world. So, was it theft? Or was it a brilliant act of preservation? Can a ritual be pulled out of its own time and still hold its power? Tell me what you think below. Crowley did not invent his most powerful tool. He recognized it. He saw the raw power in a fragment of Greco-Egyptian magic and understood what it could do for the modern dilemma, the divided self. He stole the fire of the ancients, not to hoard it, but to light it again for a new age. If you want the full map of these hidden schools, the book is in the description. The films on Crowley's Cairo Revelation, on John Dee's Angels, and on Carl Jung are here too. Sometimes the most powerful magic is not inventing something new. It is having the eyes to recognize something ancient.